Now, WJZ's Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health.
Unbelievable sight. John Harbaugh booed as he walks off the field, a sign of just how dark the times are here in Baltimore. This is Purple Connection. I'm Alex Glaze. Yesterday's loss, one of the worst losses in Ravens history. The Ravens now 1-4 in their season, in real jeopardy. Now, the Ravens were shorthanded, missing key starters, and multiple Pro Bowlers were out, including Lamar Jackson. But nobody's using that as an excuse. C.J. Stroud threw for 4 touchdowns and led the Texans on 8 scoring drives. It was a blowout, 44-10, the final, tied for the most lopsided home loss in franchise history. Accountability, a word that was thrown around a lot after the game. John Harbaugh expecting his team to get right in a hurry.
It's not what you say, it's what you do, and they're working hard, and they take responsibility for their mistakes just like the coaches do. The coaches are the first ones to say, I've got to do better.
And I want to welcome in now Grace Grill, Tim Barbalace of 105.7 The Fan, and Giana Han of the Baltimore Banner. Guys, a lot of places where we can start with this one, but I think that a lot of people want to point to the injuries, but that's not an excuse. I mean, we look at just Thursday night football. The Rams lost to the Niners. Niners down their quarterback, down a couple of guys at key positions on defense, offense. They found a way to come out and win the game. The Ravens just didn't show up. And, I mean, I saw people walking around with paper bags over their heads at M&T Bank Stadium. Just, Tim, we've never seen anything like this in the time we've been watching the Ravens.
I know what just happened last night, prisoner moment, whatever. That was rock bottom of the John Harbaugh era. It really was. And we played the clip of John walking down the steps into the locker room, getting booed, fans cussing at him. It's like, what is going on? 3/4 of the stadium was empty in the third quarter. And it's insane to say, but the Ravens are the get-right week right now. They were against Kansas City. That offense had been struggling heading into that game, scored their most points since week 3 of 2023. The Texans' offense was abysmal heading into M&T Bank Stadium. It was one-way traffic, and both of those teams, the Chiefs and the Texans, only punted once, and that was after the backup quarterback came in the fourth quarter. It's a disaster right now.
Yeah, I agree. That was devastating to watch. I think devastating is the word and thought that I had leaving that stadium yesterday. I mean, you said it, Tim. You've never seen that before. And me and my experience of covering football, I mean, I came from Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So it was the Panthers. So I know what rock bottom looks like. And for that team, it was a mix of not having talent, not having the right people in place, and then culture was a big one. But I would have put culture third on that list. With the Ravens, I think it's not, you don't have a talent problem. That team is loaded with talent. I think you have a culture problem at this point.
Gianna, you were in the locker room after the game. Just kind of what is the vibe you got from the guys? You've been in there after wins, you've been in there after losses. Just how would you kind of rate the temperature in the room when you walked in there yesterday?
I mean, it was silent. It was quiet after the Kansas City one, but this one was very silent. The only real sound was a little bit of quiet murmurs from Tyler Santucci, the linebackers coach, who had the linebackers gathered together. That's not something we normally see when we go in there. Normally, it's players only. Maybe John Harbaugh walks through after his press conference, and then their equipment guys. But this was the first time I think I've ever seen a group still in a huddle. And asked Teddy Buchanan and Jake Hummel what was said. Roquan Smith is injured right now, so we're not allowed to talk to him. But they both said the message was just stay the course, because this defense is not what it's supposed to be, regardless of injury. And Tyler Santucci wants that group to be the heart of this defense and for the change to start there. But otherwise, it was just so quiet. I think in the past ones, maybe the rookies haven't looked as shell-shocked just because, they're still like, wow, we're here. We're getting to play NFL, and knowing that they're at least doing what they can. But I don't know, as Grace mentioned, this is a talented team. Maybe on defense, the injury is the excuse. In fact, I mean, they're missing all the Pro Bowlers. For me, it was the offense that was just so disappointing. Because, yeah, you didn't have Lamar Jackson, but you have so many other guys. You should be able to do something. And they got in the end zone once.
Gianna, you're talking about the defense. We have actually some numbers just to paint the picture of just how bad this Ravens defense has been. I'll be the first one to admit I thought this was going to be one of the better defenses that we'll see. I mean, when you look on paper, just all the all-pro guys that are on this roster, but that just has not played out so far. This Ravens defense has given up 177 points through 5 games, and you look at that highlighted number, that's an average more than 35 points per game so far this season. That is a franchise record, not a record that you want to set by any stretch, but just you see in these categories, they're ranking at the bottom or second from the bottom in nearly every defensive category. So, Tim, just the defense really has been historically bad so far.
It's stunning, and you can go back to what you were saying at the top, Alex. Oh, injuries. This was a bad defense.
They were bad before the injuries, yeah.
Exactly. They were bad against Buffalo. If the defensive line is going to fall off a cliff with no Nnamdi Madubuike, give him Defensive Player of the Year already. Like, there's no resistance that this defense is providing. It does not resemble anything of Ravens defenses of old, because rule number 1 for a Ravens defense, it's stop the run, and they can't do that. Every single opponent has rushed for over 100 yards against them, and I don't think they have an answer. I don't think to go back from a couple weeks ago, what is their card to play right now? I don't know if they have one.
Well, and that's what's so devastating. Tim, you said it at the top. They are now the get right week, which is so crazy to think about, because when you think of Ravens football, like, you go to the defense, right? That is the legacy of this football team. And for them to not even, like you said, to not show the fight, right? Like, all right, lose a football game, but like it felt like they weren't even trying at times. And you feel crazy saying that about a Baltimore Ravens football team. But, like, just to put in perspective, the Texans scored 4 touchdowns against the Ravens. They had previously scored 6 all season through their first 4 games, which is just, it's crazy to think that can be done against a Baltimore Ravens football team.
Yeah, and Gianna, you actually have an article up on the Baltimore Banner talking about the defense and Zach Orr. I mean, there's a lot of talk right now about changes needing to be made when you're talking about the Ravens, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Some people calling for Zach Orr's job. They think that he's the problem. But as we heard yesterday from John Harbaugh and players in the locker room, they support Zach Orr. So what are you hearing from players, Gianna, when it comes to Zach Orr and his role in what has gone wrong so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, the Zach Orr comments, I see you guys commenting in my comments section. They started so early, but, so this has been a question. They haven't lived up to expectation from week 1. Obviously, the injuries eventually happened, but even when they weren't and they had Pro Bowlers, you have to wonder, is it coaching? And so, every guy that you talk to from the beginning of this season, when they started playing poorly, they've constantly said it's not coaching, it's not game planning, it's us, it's execution. Maybe it's rookies who aren't quite communicating well yet, but I asked again, if you guys know what's wrong, then why aren't you guys able to fix it? And they're like, we don't know, but it's not coaching. I have not heard other players outside the defense just be so adamant about how much support they have for their guy. And they do call him my guy, our guy. So these guys love Zach Orr.
Yeah, I mean, just going off your comments, Kyle Hamilton, last week after the Chiefs lost, he defended Zach Orr. Something I found interesting was Kyle Van Noy's comments after the game where, you've heard the message be, guys just got to do your job, it's execution. But Kyle Van Noy went a step further yesterday and just said, hey, we got to get it together. He used some other colorful language. I thought it was great. I love seeing him mad. Right? Because and maybe we get to that point now because, I mean, we've come after losses into that locker room, at practice, and they're bumping music and everything. And I'm like, look, I never played pro sports, but even playing in high school and level, if we were cheery or bumping music after losses, we got an earful because but to me, that screams culture. How do you take that?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of questions about just kind of what's going wrong so far this season with the Ravens, a lot of questions about how to get right and how to fix that. Obviously, the results have not matched up with the expectations. Some changes definitely are coming. It's just a matter of when, I think, not if. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to play What's the Word? A lot to get to when it comes to the game, aside from the loss, and we're going to touch on the big topics when Purple Connection continues. Stay with us.
The Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. This is the Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health.
Still just unbelievable. John Harbaugh getting rained down with boos as he walked off the field yesterday. Welcome back to Purple Connection. It's time for What's the Word? And let's start right there. John Harbaugh getting booed as he walked off the field. Grace, is what?
Shocking. Like, I did not have that on my bingo card. I know that's the buzzword for this season. Like, that's just shocking.
I think that's a fair one. Tim?
Cringeworthy. It was just tough to watch, man. This is a guy that's a slam dunk for the Ravens Ring of Honor. I think he's going to be in Canton one day when it's all said and done. He won a Super Bowl here, but that was an ugly performance where his team was not ready to play, and it's been 3 straight games of just uncompetitive action from the Ravens, which you just don't see in a John Harbaugh coach team.
I think the word I would use is telling. Tim, we've been around here for a while. I think that there's always been a pocket of Ravens fans that have called for, change when it comes to head coach. But now it seems like that maybe somewhat silent or quiet minority has become the majority. A lot of people are frustrated with this team and the way things have gone, and I think that a lot of people are pointing to the guy up top. Gianna, what's the word you would use for Harbaugh getting booed?
I think fair. Maybe it's my experience in Philly, but if you're going to talk about a standard and you don't play up to that standard, then you've earned the pushback from the fans.
I think that's all fair. All right, the next one, we got Jair Alexander, a little scuffle with Jalen Noel. I believe this was Jalen Noel scoring his first touchdown of his career. Hit the Ray Lewis dance, which don't appreciate, in the same corner of the end zone where Ray made his last entrance. So that a very sacred corner for the Ravens. But Jair Alexander scuffle with Jalen Noel was what, Grace?
I'm going to say desperate. Like, that was telling of where their mindset was, of just they were getting beat on, and it was like a frustration moment. So I thought it was just an out of desperation to find any type of juice.
I'm going to say stupid. I mean, listen, the game's over. The kid scored a touchdown. I mean, giving up more than 40 points, just let it go. I think he gave the ball to the ball boy. Jair explained it after the game. Gave the ball to the ball boy, but then wanted it back, and then Jair just wasn't having it. Just let the kid get the ball. I mean, at that point, showed more fight in that moment than throughout the whole game, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would just say petty with exactly what both of you guys said. Just, it was his first touchdown. Obviously, it was a misunderstanding with the exchange with the ball boy. He wanted to keep his first NFL touchdown. Who wouldn't want that? And Jair Alexander, it's a blowout. Frustrations boiled over, and that's what happened.
To be fair, I doubt that Jair knew that was his first career touchdown, too. Like, we'll give him that, but still, I thought it was a little childish.
I don't know. I'm not going to give that past Jair. I don't know. I'm not going to give him that benefit of the doubt. Stupid, nonetheless. All right, last one here. Ravens' playoff chances, Gianna, are what?
Still, I guess, surviving. Because as crazy as it is, they're still favored to win this division.
Crazy.
And maybe, I don't know, they get some guys back, and I don't think they're going to win out, but if they win out, they could still make the playoffs. They'd be 12-5, assuming they lose this next game. So that's absolutely hard to believe, but they're still alive.
I was gonna go with non-zero. I think that's probably the best I could come up with. I mean, you look at that schedule that's coming up. I mean, it's pretty favorable. I mean, there's still 5 division games, so still a lot of football to be played. But outside of that, you have the Dolphins, you have the Jets, you have the Bears. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is not necessarily murderer's row when we're talking about, featured opponents.
I would just say slim. And is there still the possibility? Absolutely. That schedule's right there. We know the AFC North this year. It just stinks. Let's just call it what it is. The Bengals are a joke. The Browns, they're scuffling, already went to a rookie quarterback. But with the Ravens, again, you're at the point where those other teams are looking, hey, we got a good shot to win this week. We can get right this week.
Well, I think that's the problem that they need to fix. They need to earn their respect back in the league, because right now they don't have it. I'm going to use the word dwindling, just because in Super Bowl era, only 4% of teams have made the playoffs after dropping 4 out of their 5 first games. So Dwindling.
Absolutely. And you got to imagine, too, Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens, they're in win now mode, right? That's all they were talking about this offseason, how it's not, I mean, how did Harbaugh put it? It's not Super Bowl or bust, but it's win now, right? You can't imagine he's sitting back and he wants to watch 3 more months of this. So I'd imagine we see some big changes coming, whether that is personnel, whether that is on the coaching side, player side. Something has to give because whatever they've been doing for these first 5 weeks just has not been working out, guys. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a look around the league with our league checkup. Stay with us. More Purple Connection coming up after this.
The Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. The League Checkup, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
Welcome back to Purple Connection. It's time for our league checkup. A lot of interesting things happening throughout the league yesterday, aside from the Ravens. Start things off over the pond. Dillon Gabriel throws for 2 touchdowns in his debut, but comes up short. The Vikings get the win there. Cam Ward gets his first win. That's a funky one over there to beat the Cardinals. Stephon Diggs, big win on Sunday Night Football. Beat the Bills, and then their first loss. And then a short-handed Niners team beats the Rams in overtime on Thursday. And then honorable mention, of course, the Eagles also losing to the Broncos. So no undefeated teams remain. Guys, what stood out to you, Grace?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all watching in the morning slate of NFL with them being overseas. Dillon Gabriel putting out a good showing. First quarterback to make his debut overseas. Thought that was pretty cool. Just a little nugget.
That is interesting. I'll say this. I don't know what the Browns have or who's evaluating quarterbacks for them, but Dillon Gabriel, he just didn't look like a guy, Tim. I mean, I'm watching him. Especially that all you need to know is that his arm strength just isn't there, and he's not going to get any stronger, right? I mean, just that last second heave to the end zone. I know our web guy Adam was over there watching the game, big Browns fan. He couldn't have been encouraged watching Dillon Gabriel yesterday.
I'll say this with Dillon Gabriel, where you knew he was small. I didn't realize how small he was until after the game when he was getting a handshake with Carson Wentz, who's towering over him. But look, Quinshon Judkins, their rookie running back, he had a really strong game. But if you think about it this way, if you would have told Kevin Stefanski, hey, you're going to have a 3-point lead with 3 minutes to go, and you're on defense, and the Vikings go 80 yards on that really good Cleveland defense, that's a gut punch loss for them.
Yeah, and I started Cleveland's defense in my fantasy league last year, so that one hurt me as well. Gianna, what stood out to you yesterday?
I mean, I guess I'll go back a few days, but the Niners-Rams game, I mean, that has to stand out, one, because the Rams are the next opponent, and they're coming in actually early because, the time change, and then they're going overseas. So they're sticking around, according to Jake Hummel, who just came from the Rams. But it also stands out because the 49ers, as you mentioned, they're injured, and they still managed to beat a very solid team. So that's kind of the example of what we want to see from the Ravens. We want to see them find a way, even though they're injured. Like, no more excuses. You can do this. But where they're at right now, I don't really have hope they're going to do that. But we now have an example that's going to happen. It can happen.
Yeah. I loved watching Stephon Diggs get busy on Sunday Night Football. I mean, maybe it's just because he's a Maryland guy or whatever, and probably still the best wide receiver high school highlight tape I've ever seen. But Stephon Diggs still doing it in New England, to go to Buffalo, face his old team, and put up those kind of numbers. What was it, 10 receptions, 146 yards? I mean, he absolutely tore it up in prime time. And it was just fun to watch him just go and do that. Fun to watch Drake May. Also, We're talking about quarterbacks who maybe aren't a guy, whatever. Drake May looks like he's a guy. Looks like Mike Vrabel and the Patriots have a quarterback.
Right, so this is kind of interesting, just Tim, with your comment about, or I forget who made the comment there about small, the size of quarterbacks, or didn't know who was evaluating them. Like, that's Drake May, watching him go out there. I mean, I know he's got a little bit more around him maybe, but that's your prototype quarterback. It'll be interesting to see the evaluators going forward, because I think there was an experiment period of like, oh, we like the arm strength. I referenced Bryce Young in Carolina. Like, we like the accuracy, we like the arm strength, but you're not exactly seeing that translate into the NFL. Not everybody's going to be a Drew Brees.
Well, you can also look and see what we have. I mean, a guy we haven't talked about yet, Baker Mayfield, right? He's kind of been through the ringer. He was almost out of the league a couple years ago. I mean, he went and did his time in Cleveland, and they kind of chewed him up and spit him out, and now he's looking like he could be an MVP in Tampa. I mean, Baker is that's a guy that could lead my team. I love everything about Baker.
When I was in Carolina, when they got Baker, and I think
he was playing like defensive end on scout team.
I was the only one in Carolina who thought that was a good idea. And it's like, but you know what? Like, he has the talent. I'm happy that it's showing there in Tampa Bay, and I do believe it is who you have around you too. But like, Baker Mayfield's got that leadership quality. Like, he's got that quality that's gonna like will other guys on that team to be their best.
He's got that ish to him. We saw the video of him talking to the fan, exchanging pleasantries.
He fuels off that. Stop talking to Baker. Stop talking to him.
And then, of course, he went back to the fan after he led the game-winning drive. But I'm with you, Alex. I think he's an early MVP candidate. That Bucs team is so much fun to watch. All of their wins have been in the last minute. I mean, how many fourth-quarter comebacks, game-winning drives has Baker Mayfield led? That was a really impressive win by Tampa Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that stands out about Baker, we're talking about it. I mean, not too many guys that, were one of the top picks, Heisman Trophy winner, humble themselves to play scout team defensive end just by any means just to get in there. So happy to see Baker still getting it done and playing at a high level. My MVP so far this season. All right, we're going to take a quick break, wrap things up. When we come back, more Purple Connection after this.
A Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. And now, Game Day Advice, brought to you by Rice Law. For the best advice, call Rice.
And welcome back to Purple Connection. It's time for Game Day Advice. Gianna, you actually kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. Ironically, it sounds like this was the message the Ravens were getting after this game from their coaches. Stay the course. That's all you need to do with this week. Two teams have made the playoffs after starting 1-4 since the playoffs expanded in 2020. A lot of football left to be played for this team. It is possible the chances are non-zero. 5 division games left on the schedule, so the Ravens have still got a chance to stay the course.
It would be the greatest comeback story ever, and we'll be talking about this Ravens football team for years.
Tim, do you all right, this
Alex is like, we're having none of that.
No. Maybe tell me if I'm being a little bit of a negative Nate. Do you want to make the playoffs at this point? I mean, it feels like this team, we know what this team is. I don't think that this is a Super Bowl contending team. I think that if you are a Ravens fan, you've seen them play the Bills. You've seen them play the Chiefs. You have no reason to believe that they can go to either of those places and win a playoff game. Is it best to just kind of reset?
This is a wild question
to
me.
I don't know if I'm at that point yet, but I find it hard to talk playoffs with a 1-4 team that has gotten run out of the gym the past 3 weeks. They gotta play a competitive game on Sunday against the Rams. Like, let's get to that point where they play a competitive game. And a lot of these guys that were out yesterday, they aren't going to play this Sunday. Like, it's going to be a compromised roster. But we've seen John Harbaugh coach teams rise up, bow up in these moments of adversity, but we haven't seen it this year. It's been anything but that this year.
All right, well, I believe we have our question of the week, kind of a little bit more positive tone this week. What gives you hope that the Ravens can turn this season around? We want to hear from the fans. You can hit up WJZ on our social media channels and weigh in. We have about 30 seconds. Just a quick yes or no. Gianna, I'll start with you. Can the Ravens turn this season around? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. All right, Grace.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Tim.
It's possible, not likely.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
All right. I'm gonna say yes too. Actually,
I think it comes down to will.
I think they make the playoffs.
I love that out of you,
They'll win the
Alex.
division and make the playoffs in purgatory. All right. That'll do it for Purple Connection. We'll be back next week. Have a good night.